They say we know where we come from, that our story is carved in bones, etched in DNA, and written in the silent language of evolution. But what if the tale we tell ourselves is incomplete? Imagine digging into the soil of time and brushing dust from a skull that does not belong to us, yet looks eerily familiar. What if the most dangerous secret is not in the galaxies above, but buried beneath our feet? The truth is unsettling. Humans may not just be descendants of apes. We might be the forgotten children of something far stranger. Science tells us that Homo sapiens arose in Africa roughly 300,000 years ago, evolving gradually from earlier hominins. Yet the fossil record is far messier than textbooks suggest. Scattered fragments hint at parallel histories, with creatures showing modern features, unexpectedly ancient tools buried in sediments far older than conventional, timelines and footprints that defy the age of the strata. They occupy all whispering of a hidden narrative lost to time. Consider the Denisovans discovered from a single finger bone in a Siberian cave whose DNA still courses through modern populations in Southeast Asia and Papua New Guinea, suggesting that we are not the apex of a single lineage, but a tapestry woven from forgotten ancestors. Stone tools in Morocco's Jebel Irhoud, dated 315,000 years ago, mirror advanced craftsmanship long before Homo sapiens was supposed to exist, hinting that intelligence, creativity, and social complexity may have been shared across multiple hominin groups. Each discovery blurs the line between species, raising the unsettling possibility that our ancestors deliberately interacted, merged, or inherited traits from beings whose stories have been erased, leaving us to wander a world built atop the shadows of those who came before, carrying echoes of minds and cultures we have never fully known. Yet the mysteries are not limited to bones or tools. They are embedded in our very DNA, fragments of archaic genomes, interlaced with our own whispering secrets that modern humans can scarcely comprehend. Recent studies reveal that Neanderthal and Denisovan genes influence everything from our immune systems to our skin hair and even behavior, suggesting that the echoes of long-extinct lineages are not just relics of the past, but active participants. In our present, it is as though the genetic tapestry of humanity is a palimpsest written and rewritten across millennia, each species leaving behind traces that continue to shape the physiology, cognition, and even instincts of those who walk the earth today. If we dig deeper, the fossil record offers even stranger anomalies. Homo naledi, discovered in South Africa's Rising Star Cave system, exhibits a body that seems designed for an earlier age, yet its remains date astonishingly recent, overlapping with modern humans by tens of thousands of years, forcing us to reconsider the strict hierarchies we assumed existed between primitive and advanced species. These beings, small-brained by comparison, appear to have engaged in behaviors once considered uniquely human, deliberate placement of their dead tool use, and perhaps even rudimentary symbolic communication. How many other species entirely unknown to us might have walked this planet, leaving whispers behind in caves, stones, or even the recesses of our own minds? The evidence points to a reality far more complex than the neat evolutionary ladders depicted in textbooks. Our ancestors were not isolated pioneers, but participants in an intricate web of interactions, migrations, and exchanges with other hominins whose names we may never know yet, whose DNA flows through us, shaping our resilience, intelligence, and survival. Consider the mysterious footprints discovered in White Sands, New Mexico, dated at over 23,000 years old, which challenge the prevailing narrative of human migration into the Americas, suggesting that either multiple human-like species crossed continents, or that Homo sapiens themselves carried ancestral traits inherited from now forgotten lineages, enabling them to survive in environments far beyond what we thought possible. And then there are the enigmatic artifacts found across the globe, sophisticated carvings, intricately crafted tools, and monumental structures whose creators remain unidentified, raising the unnerving possibility that the story of intelligence on Earth stretches back far earlier than we imagined. What if the ancestors who built these objects were not Homo sapiens at all, but a species whose intellect, creativity, and culture rivaled ours, only to vanish from the record, leaving humanity to inherit fragments of their achievements? Even our own anatomy may contain echoes of these lost lineages. variations in skull shape, dental patterns, and even genetic predispositions suggest that modern humans are not uniform products of a single evolutionary line, but mosaics carrying the signatures of multiple convergent species. And if this is true, then every innovation, every leap forward in tool-making, social, organization, or symbolic thought may be less a triumph of one species, and more the culmination of interactions across forgotten human relatives. These revelations force a profound reconsideration of identity. What does it mean to be human if the very essence of our biology is borrowed, blended, and inherited from creatures whose names and stories have faded from memory? Could it be that our triumphs, our cultures, and even our consciousness are not solely our own, but a living echo of lives that preceded, overlapped, and intertwined with ours in ways we are only beginning to detect? Each discovery compounds the mystery. DNA recovered from sediments in caves where no bones remain tells us that hominin species came, lingered, and vanished long before modern humans appeared, yet left indelible marks in the ecological and genetic landscape. We are, in a very literal sense, walking repositories of lost civilizations, carrying within us the memory of beings who shaped, guided, and even competed with the ancestors we recognize. And as we examine these strands, patterns emerge traits once considered unique to Homo sapiens. Complex communication tools, sophistication, strategic hunting. Even social rituals appear repeatedly across unrelated species, suggesting that intelligence and culture may have been far more widespread than we ever imagined. What if the story of humanity is not a straight line, but a tapestry of overlapping civilizations, each leaving traces of their existence in tools, bones, and genes influencing the trajectory of those who survived? The implications are staggering. If we are the heirs of a forgotten species or multiple species, then the past we cling to, the narrative that comforts us with its simplicity, is an illusion. Our evolutionary heritage is a mosaic of victories, failures, and disappearances, with echoes of once thriving lineages still resonating in the structure of our brains, the composition of our immune systems, and perhaps even in the instincts we barely understand. And when we contemplate the mind itself, the capacity for abstract thought, art, empathy, and imagination, one cannot help but wonder, did these faculties arise purely from Homo sapiens, or are they the culmination of millennia of cognitive inheritance shaped by encounters with other human-like species, whose existence we are only now beginning to glimpse? Every stone unearthed, every DNA strand, sequenced, every anomalous footprint or tool reminds us that the story of humanity is far more complex than we have been taught, that we are the living product of a world crowded with cousins, rivals, and collaborators whose names are lost but whose influence endures. Perhaps then the greatest revelation is not that humans evolved, but that we are inheritors of something far grander, far stranger, a lineage that refused to die, quietly embedding itself within our very being, whispering the truth that life in all its complexity rarely follows a single path, and that the species we call human may carry the consciousness of ancestors we will never fully know. As we delve deeper into prehistory, we begin to see that humanity is not the sole originator of culture and intelligence, but the inheritor of a far older network of knowledge and innovation. The walls of caves across Europe, Asia, and Africa are adorned with paintings, carvings, and symbols whose creators remain unknown. Some of these are attributed to early Homo sapiens, yet their sophistication suggests influences or precedents from species whose minds we can only speculate about. Perhaps these early works represent communication or storytelling learned and refined across generations and species, hinting at shared cognitive abilities among multiple hominins. Fossils and artifacts from sites across Asia, Africa, and Oceania reveal overlapping timelines where different human-like species lived side by side, sometimes occupying the same shelters, hunting grounds, or seasonal territories, leaving intertwined legacies in tools, shelters, and cultural artifacts. In some cases, skeletal remains indicate hybridization, combining traits from multiple species, suggesting that interactions went far beyond competition and may have included knowledge transfer and collaboration. These encounters could explain sudden leaps in tool-making, art, and social organization that appear almost inexplicably in the archaeological record, as if innovations were inherited from a hidden lineage, whose memory persists in subtle ways across generations. Modern genetic studies reinforce this vision, showing that our DNA is a mosaic containing fragments from Neanderthals, Denisovans, and other unknown hominins influencing immunity, metabolism, and even cognition. Some populations carry genes that provide advantages in survival in harsh climates or resistance to specific diseases inherited from ancestors who faced challenges long before Homo sapiens emerged. This evidence suggests that human adaptability and intelligence are the result of cumulative learning across species, rather than the product of a single evolutionary line. Even physical anomalies in fossils point to connections that challenge conventional evolutionary trees. The tiny Homo floresiensis from Indonesia exhibits small brains, yet demonstrates tool use and adaptive behavior once considered impossible for its size. How these abilities were acquired raises questions about shared knowledge networks and the diffusion of skills across species. Perhaps the ancestors of modern humans were not isolated pioneers, but participants in an intricate web of teaching, learning, and cultural exchange that shaped the very foundations of intelligence. Our own cognitive abilities may therefore be shaped not only by Homo sapiens, but by traits inherited from these forgotten cousins, whose existence has almost entirely vanished. Archaeology hints at this, in sites where sudden bursts of innovation or sophisticated tools appear in ways that cannot be explained by gradual learning, alone suggesting that human ingenuity may be a composite inheritance from multiple intelligent lineages. This perspective extends to our understanding of consciousness. Our capacity for abstract thought, imagination, and empathy may not have originated solely with Homo sapiens, but may be the culmination of cognitive inheritance, shaped over hundreds of thousands of years across interactions with other intelligent hominins. Every unearthing, every DNA sample, and every anomalous artifact reminds us that the story of humanity is far more complex than a single lineage narrative. It is a story of overlapping species, whose intelligence, communication, and social behaviors intersected and merged in ways that have left traces in our biology, instincts, and culture. Even aspects of language, social organization, and problem-solving may reflect inherited patterns from species long extinct. Our innovations and achievements may therefore be echoes of a broader network of cognition developed across multiple human-like species, whose interactions set the stage for what we consider uniquely human traits. The footprints of these hidden ancestors are everywhere in our behaviors, instincts, and neural wiring. They shape how we cooperate, survive, and innovate across generations and landscapes. Evidence suggests that complex cultural practices, symbolic behavior, and technological innovation were not confined to one species, but were traits shared, transmitted, and adapted across multiple hominins. This challenges the notion that Homo sapiens alone were responsible for the earliest expressions of intelligence, art, and culture. Instead, our species may represent a continuation of a broader intellectual tradition, a tapestry woven from the insights and experiences of beings whose names and stories have mostly vanished. DNA from sediments and fossils indicates that populations carried genes from species yet unidentified, suggesting that intelligence and culture may have been transmitted through interbreeding or close interaction with lost lineages. Our identity as humans is therefore inseparable from the lineage of those who came before and alongside us. Their contributions live on invisibly in our cognitive abilities, our social instincts, and even our survival strategies. Each discovery reminds us that what we consider human achievement may be built upon the foundations laid by species whose influence continues to shape our history and development. The forgotten. Species may have disappeared physically, but their presence endures, shaping our abilities and guiding the evolution of our culture, cognition, and adaptability across millennia. Every tool, painting, and genetic fragment becomes evidence of a collective heritage, showing that intelligence and creativity are not the province of a single species, but the cumulative inheritance of a family of hominins whose interactions forged the world we now inhabit. This understanding transforms human history from a linear story of triumph to a complex tapestry of shared existence and inheritance, revealing that the traits we prize most may be the legacy of minds that walked the earth long before Homo sapiens and whose echoes still resonate within us, shaping our future as much as our past. As we explore the edges of human history, we begin to see that Homo sapiens may not be the sole originators of intelligence and culture, but the inheritors of a far older lineage whose legacy continues within us. Across continents and millennia, multiple human-like species lived, adapted and created, leaving subtle yet enduring marks on our minds, behaviors and genetics. Fossils from Homo naledi show small-brained beings deliberately placing their dead in deep caves, suggesting ritual and awareness long before Homo sapiens reached similar cognitive heights. Homo floresiensis used sophisticated tools and survived in isolation, revealing ingenuity that challenges traditional assumptions. Each species that walked alongside or before us contributed to the tapestry of knowledge and survival that shaped our evolution. Modern genetic studies reveal that Neanderthal, Denisovan, and even unknown hominin genes persist in humans, influencing immunity, metabolism, cognition, and even behavior. Some populations carry traits that allowed ancestors to survive extreme climates or resist disease, demonstrating that our adaptability is not the product of a single species, but the result of cumulative inheritance across many lineages. Technology, art, and social organization also suggest shared intelligence. Sudden leaps in innovation may have been informed by cultural exchanges or observation across species networks. Even language, problem-solving, and cooperation could reflect ancestral knowledge transmitted through generations. The capacities we consider uniquely human, including empathy, imagination, and abstract thought, may be echoes of experiences and learning accumulated across species interactions. Our behaviors, instincts, and creative impulses are shaped by beings whose names we may never know yet, whose influence persists invisibly in every aspect of our lives. Each tool, painting, and genetic fragment reminds us that human history is not linear, but a rich mosaic of overlapping species learning, surviving, and shaping one another. The forgotten species may have vanished physically, but their essence endures through the consciousness, culture, and innovation of modern humans. We carry their legacy in our biology and behavior, making every achievement, every act of creativity, a continuation of a story that began long before Homo sapiens existed. As we reflect on this hidden inheritance, it becomes clear that understanding ourselves requires looking beyond what we see and recognizing the contributions of the countless intelligent beings who came before. If this journey through time challenges your perception of humanity, imagine what other secrets await beneath the surface and in our DNA. The story of human evolution is far from complete, and each discovery opens new doors to wonder, awe, and curiosity. If you want to continue exploring these hidden histories and uncover the mysteries of our forgotten ancestors, subscribe to the channel, share this journey with others, and join us as we dig deeper into the past to better understand who we are and the astonishing web of life that brought us here.